The Montessori Baby. Today I'm going to be summarizing this amazing book. So whether you are pregnant, you have a baby, or you're just interested in Montessori, I hope that this is going to be helpful. My name is Emma and I am a mum of a now 8-month-old baby. Time travels so fast. And I'm also a pre and postnatal yoga instructor, and I'm just obsessed with all things pregnancy, motherhood, and babies. I love it. You should see my parenting bookshelf. It's like too much. So if you're interested in any of those topics, please do give me a follow. It's been a while since I posted any videos, and that's because motherhood is pretty time consuming. I'm loving it, and you can hear Marvy playing a little off camera. She's there with her dad. But yeah, hopefully there's more regular videos to come. In this video, I'm going to cover what is Montessori, setting up your home, parenting, activities, and daily life. So this is how I'm breaking down this book. What is Montessori? Montessori is named after an amazing woman called Maria Montessori, who studied children and observed them and created an environment for them to better learn. So it's actually a classroom environment that she created to help babies develop that we are now using within the home. There are 3 main aspects to the Montessori philosophy, and they are environment, respect, and activities. So environment, let's start with. So the main belief is that we're not trying to add things in for baby, we're trying to take obstacles away. So babies naturally learn to walk, babies naturally learn to talk, but there are some things that can hinder their development, and we want to remove those. So just a silly example is them not wearing socks, because then they're better able to move their feet on the ground and learn to crawl. But there are many such examples. Number 2 is respect. So babies are often seen as these incapable little potatoes that just need to be mollycoddled. So Maria Montessori believes, as do I, that we should respect babies as little humans. And if you wouldn't say something to an adult, then you shouldn't say that to a baby. And maybe Montessori takes it a little to the extreme, but I quite like it. So speak to them in proper English, not just ooby-doo-boogity-ga-ga-ga-ga-ga, but like ask them real questions and see if, in their eyes, if they kind of give you a response, and respect them in a real adult way. And just another note on respect is loving them. Obviously you love your baby, but it's Montessori believes in sort of really making a secure attachment, picking up baby when they cry, holding them when they cry. And again, if you just compare to an adult, you wouldn't let your partner just cry in another room and leave them alone. You would be there to hold them when they cry, and things like that. Just imagine that they're an adult, and this is most of the point. Finally, we have activities. And if you just do a quick search of Montessori, you're probably going to see Montessori toys and Montessori bed and Montessori stuff. And while Montessori is actually very minimalist, there are a bunch of activities that Maria Montessori developed for the classroom, which are specifically to help babies to develop their fine motor skills, their gross motor skills, language, and much more. Most of these activities really come into play in toddlerhood, but there are still a bunch that are applicable for babies. First, let's look at setting up the home environment. So, as I mentioned, Montessori is about removing obstacles and allowing them to develop freely. And a lot of that is about how we set the home up. So we call it yes spaces. So you want to create spaces within your home that mean you don't have to say no. And that can start as a small space and you can gradually grow that. You could have a few different spaces around the house. But really what we're talking about is baby proofing and providing some activities around the home so that baby can occupy themselves and you don't need to jump in and interrupt their play. So you want to look at the whole cycle. Wake, feed, play, sleep. This is how my life is now categorized. So when they wake up, from 6 months of age, Montessori recommends that they sleep in the floor bed, which means that they can access their toys and things in their room. So this is making the bedroom a yes space. So you want to think about when they wake up, is it safe for them just to wake up, crawl out of their bed and play in that room without you being there? And that might seem radical, but it's pretty cool. Wake, feed. Feeding, this isn't so much about how you prepare your home. Actually, sorry, it is. Once you get to the weaning stage, you can have like a small table and chairs for a sort of child size where they sit and they eat their meals, like a little tiny cute chair and table, and that's where they eat. And they eat with a real plate and real cutlery and a real glass. And this is kind of one of the more crazy Montessori ideas, but I like it. Play, so having a selection of toys accessible and available. So either on open shelves, or you can have them in baskets in different rooms. And it's suggested by Montessori not to have too many. You can have the same amount of toys as they are months old. So for example, Marvi is almost 8 months now. So I put 8 different toys in her toy basket that she can then play with throughout the day. Otherwise it's a little overwhelming. Wake, feed, play, sleep. And finally, as we enter sort of past a year and into toddlerhood, you can start putting their things in low down cupboards so they start to see where their things are located, and when they become toddlers they know where their stuff is and that they can go get it themselves. Let's talk about respectful parenting. So one thing is to ask your baby questions, which like, may I pick you up? Can I change your diaper? Can I put the clothes on you? One huge part is to offer as little help as necessary, but as much as is needed. This is probably the one Montessori phrase that I use in my everyday life. As I'm watching her, she's now pulling up on stuff. How I'm giving as little help as needed. So if she falls over, it's okay for her to fall, but I don't want her to fall badly, in which case I'll catch her. And it's always making these little micro decisions. She's playing with a particular toy and she starts to get really frustrated and starts to cry. I'll step in and help her to solve the issue. But as soon as she's okay again, I step away. Montessori is big on not interrupting, because interrupting them breaks their focus. So when you're watching them do something, don't jump in and be like, yes, that's a blue ball. Maybe they were just in their own head admiring this ball and you've broken their concentration. So I try to speak as little as possible, and that includes also giving praise. When they do something, don't straight away be like, wow, awesome, you did that. Just observe. They will feel proud of themselves naturally. And if we give lots of praise, they start to become extrinsically motivated, where they're looking for our reaction and only happy with themselves when we're happy with them. Another big one is positive language. So instead of saying don't do something, try as much as you can to say do something. So instead of saying don't pull the plug in the bathtub, so something she's doing a lot, you might say play with this duck instead. Or like don't run, you would say, please walk. Not that babies are running, but I'm just struggling with examples. And this is a tough one to do, but positive language goes a long way. Montessori believes that we are guides, we are not their servants, and we are not their masters. We are there to guide them and introduce them to this new world. And I would add to that, we are not there for entertainment. And this is one which I think is really important to start with early as babies, that babies are not learning to be entertained by you, they learn to entertain themselves with their toys. So as much as you can, don't step in and sing them elaborate songs and dance and do things for them. And same goes for entertaining toys. If the toy is entertaining them, then Montessori doesn't believe this is an appropriate toy. They should be using their toys to entertain themselves. Next we have removing of obstacles. So one of these is clothing. So Montessori is an advocate for no socks, no swaddling, no hats, no tight clothing. You want them to be as mobile as possible. When they're starting to learn to crawl, have them kneelers if you can, obviously depending on your environment. And also they believe no pacifier, because this can slow down their communication. And I feel like there's another one I wanted to say. And no TV, for example. You just want to remove as many obstacles you can to normal development. What I find helps, what is not mentioned in this book, is almost imagine what they're still doing today in tribal communities and what we did as parents for thousands of years. You just put your baby on the floor with simple stuff where they need to use their creativity and use their hands, and just let them develop as naturally as possible. And finally, slow down. So part of respectful parenting is going at the child's pace, and I think sometimes as parents we have so much to do and we kind of want to race through stuff, but babies teach us to slow down with them, and parenting is more enjoyable when we slow down with our babies. If they're looking at something intently, allow them to look at it before moving on to the next thing. If they're holding something in wonder, don't take it immediately out of their hand because we need to go blah 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 and do something. But of course, this has its own limits. We're busy people, but slow down as much as you can. Activities. Activities is broken into both language and movement. So we're going to start with language. Most importantly with language is to use real words, no nonsense words. Use really correct English, or whatever language you speak. And so there is something called parentese, which is when you speak in like a high-pitched sing-song voice and be like, wow, my goodness. And this is proven in studies to be effective. So feel free to have an excited pitch and tone. I have a cat, not a baby. No, but use correct words. You can also model hand gestures and have conversations with your baby where you say something to them and you wait for them to respond. And babies take a little longer, so give them appropriate time, and they might reply with a sound like this, or they might just like blow raspberries at you. And also, if they are just making sounds, repeat those sounds back to them, and it shows that you're replying to them in their own way. And this is different from using nonsense words. You're just showing them kind of respect by replying to them. The obstacles for language are pacifier, TV, and background noise. So pacifier is a tricky one. The thinking behind it is they are already communicating with you by crying and by making sounds. By putting in a pacifier, you're kind of telling them, I'm not interested in what you have to say. Plus, if they get sort of hooked on the pacifier and they're using it for extended periods of time, or I don't know, as older babies, this can slow down the time that they have to make random sounds and play with language. TV and background noise just gets in the way of them sort of listening to language or having time again to think about the noises they're making and play around with the sounds. They might end up more distracted listening to these sorts of background noise. And activities that you can do at this point are singing, reading, and communication, like I discussed. Sing simple and repetitive songs related to sort of things you're doing, or just sing for the joy of singing. They still understand the rhythm of language through any kind of song. So it doesn't necessarily need to be that you're singing Baby Shark 100 times. You can sing adult songs as well. Reading books, they might not seem very interested in the story yet. If they're anything like my baby just wants to eat the books. But they are learning, again, they're hearing all the rhythm, they're seeing that it's probably associated with these random signs and symbols on the paper. And you're also building sort of healthy habits around reading or routines around bedtime. So 0 to 3 months, all you can really do is sportscast, they call it, where you describe what you're doing. I'm picking you up. You're going in the bath. I'm washing you. So you don't want to do this too much that they never have any silence and you're interrupting what they're doing, but to an extent you're sportscasting at this age. From 3 to 6 months, you can sort of start to see that they're trying to reply to you. So it's a bit more back and forth. And even if it's just sounds that they're making back, try to repeat those sounds back to them. And if you want to introduce any kind of baby sign language, now is a good time to do so. From 6 to 9 months, they start to understand some words and purposefully babble. And from 9 to 12 months, they start to understand a lot. So really make a focus on positive language at this time. Movement. So movement activities. You want to have somewhere between the amount of months your baby is and 6 activities. So if your baby's only 2 months, you only need 2 activities and they're going to be super basic. If your baby's 5 months, 5 choices, and then after 6 months, you want around 6 different activities. So again, our role is to provide an environment for them and not to entertain them. So you place the activities within their reach, but not in their hand, and allow them to choose what they're going to play with and allow them to play with it however they want to play with it. Make sure they are dressed in loose, comfortable, and non-restrictive clothing so that they can move about freely. So gross motor skills are like the bigger sorts of movements, like crawling and walking. Fine motor skills are things like pincer grip and being able to move the hands intricately. So interestingly, babies are born basically not being able to move voluntarily. They have to learn, and their neuron development has to be developed enough in order for them to move. This goes from head to toe in this direction, and also from chest out to fingers. So the first thing they can move is their head, and then their arms, and then their chest and their trunk, and then their legs and their feet, in that order. Also, they can move their trunk of their body, then the arms in more detail, the hands, and then the fingers. You want them to have a can-do attitude to develop self-confidence and self-esteem. Allow them to try it on their own. That's why we don't place toys directly in their hands, or if they're reaching for something, that we just give it to them. Allow them to build their own confidence. So from 0 to 3 months, first month, just cuddle and snuggle that baby. It's very overwhelming to be a baby in this new, bright and uncomfortable world, so just snuggle. Second month, you can start introducing the play mat. So place them on their back on a comfortably soft, flat surface, and you can introduce mobiles. So there's a bunch of Montessori mobiles. I spent ages trying to create the black and white Munari mobile, and honestly, I barely used it. So don't fuss too much about the mobiles you create. And she didn't even really care about it. There was an animal one that my grandma got us that we used instead. But you can check out the Montessori mobiles, which have been designed for various stages. And you can introduce rattles or even just your finger to place in their palm. They'll have a reflex that they hold on, and all reflexes are absorbed, is that the right word? Through use. So the more they do this, the quicker the reflex goes away. From 3 to 6 months, you can swap purely visual mobiles for more tactile ones. Things that if they touch it, it moves or it makes a noise, like bell on a ribbon. And rattles are really good in this phase. Things that they can hold and understand that it makes a noise and they want to reach out and grab hold of it. You can place mirrors around their movement area because they love being able to see what they're doing and understand that that's them. And make sure that you're placing them on their back or on their tummy, on their movement mat as regularly as they will allow you to. And once they start moving, you can use things that roll, like balls or cylindrical rattles and things like that. And always place a few things just out of their reach to encourage movement. From 6 to 9 months, this is often where crawling can really get going. So those rolling objects are going to be helpful, and this is where yes spaces are more important than ever. You can also install a bar along the wall. We just did this and it's just over there. I'll try and get a shot of it afterwards to put it in the video here. So that you have something they can pull up on and then start moving across. And this is a good age where you can start putting discovery baskets in different rooms with different objects. So in the kitchen, you could have a whisk and a spatula and a measuring cup, things that they play with in the kitchen. And in the bathroom, you can have a toothbrush and a loofah, etc. So you have little baskets that they can play with in each room. This is also when most babies start weaning. So there are two lines of thoughts in Montessori. One is the baby-sized chair and table, where they sit and they eat. Remember, it was developed in a classroom, so this makes sense in a classroom. But in the home, a lot of people want to eat together at the dining table, as do we. And the stock chair is very widely recommended in Montessori circles. So baby can sit in the chair at the table, not with a tray, but you want them to be sitting at the table eating with you. And in Montessori, they also recommend having a real glass and real cutlery and real plates and stuff. And importantly, don't place them in a sitting position until they're ready. Don't prop them up with cushions or put them in things like a bouncer or walker or these things. I didn't mention that until now, but Montessori is quite against any baby vessel to just put your baby in. Try put them on the floor as much as you can, and just only if you have to use a bouncer. From 9 to 12 months, you can introduce a walker, something sort of quite weighted down so they can start walking with this trolley-like thing. And here you can have lots of like balls and things, because at this point they're either crawling fast or they're walking, so encourage them to move around. If they are walking unsteadily, try to avoid the temptation of propping them up and walking them around. You can give them your finger, but allow them to lead you rather than you leading them. That was another Montessori tip. All of these are Montessori tips. This isn't just me making it all up. A little aside, what to do when your baby falls. And this starts at a crawling stage, like when they start rolling over and smacking their head. This is when this really begins. Don't rush in. Just try to take a deep breath yourself and count to 5 or whatever, because it may well be that they're fine and you overreacting is going to stress them out. But if they are indeed crying or upset, go to them, comfort them, and I'm not sure if this is from the Montessori book now, but don't say, I'm pretty sure they mention this, don't say, you're fine, don't cry, it was nothing. This is undermining their emotions. Instead, you can cry, I'm here. Their emotions are valid, and let them have those emotions. You're just there to support them. From 9 to 12 months, continued, you can have an object permanence box. This is where they start to understand, I place this ball in a hole and it reappears over here. And you can give paper to tear, you can give nesting toys, like circles and rings on a pole. And if you haven't already, you can introduce a fork and a glass during food time, dinner time, lunchtime, breakfast time. Okay, new section, daily life. Montessori, this book is a advocate for the wake, feed, play, sleep cycle. And this helps me to have some kind of structure during the day, although sometimes I'm still feeding to sleep. But wake, feed, play, sleep is a good rhythm to have. And it advocates for going with the child and not being too rigid in terms of schedules. So you can have routines, but routines that are flexible. So you have a sleepy routine, but that's flexible on when they're actually sleepy. And instead you're following baby's cues rather than deciding, okay, it's 3 p.m. and this is the time that we have nap number 3. And it is important to have little rituals and to try to stick with them so that baby becomes familiar that this means it's time for this and this means it's time for that. This book is definitely a big proponent of breastfeeding if you are able to. And it does talk a little bit sort of in depth about breastfeeding, but I don't feel that this is very Montessori related, and it's just breastfeeding related. But one interesting idea is letting the baby find your nipple themselves and latch on themselves and giving them a bit more autonomy, which is all well and good. For me, that was a terrifying idea when my baby was first breastfeeding, because she wasn't able to latch very well. But if you have a good latcher, then I think it's an amazing principle. Then when we come on to solids, they're a big proponent for baby-led weaning. So this is where baby feeds themselves. You're not feeding them with the spoon. They have their own spoon and they try to get the food in their mouth that way, or they just throw the spoon on the floor and they use their hands. It's great for sensory, it's a sensory activity for them. They eat as much as they want to of a food, depending on if they like it or not, and depending on if they are full. So, but baby-led weaning is a whole topic on its own, and I've read a few books on that, and I will do a video on baby-led weaning. But in short, they also talk about giving your baby interesting foods and developing a wide palate. And once more, I know I've touched on it a few times, they recommend having a real glass, so they're not just using sippy cups or straws, but learning to use a real glass, and using real metal cutlery and ceramic plates. If your baby starts throwing food, they teach that you just say to them, are you finished? Are you done? And if they continue to throw, you take it away. Sleep. So again, this very good saying of Montessori, give as much help as is needed and as little help as necessary. And this applies also massively to sleep. For example, our baby at the beginning needed nap time in a carrier with singing, with swaying to sleep. And we gradually removed the swaying and removed the singing, but we always gave as much as was necessary for her to sleep, but no more than she needed. And that balance is tricky to find, but it's good to have in your mind. Also, Montessori is famous for their floor bed idea. So floor bed is essentially just a mattress on the floor. And try to pick a low mattress, not a very bulky one, but IKEA has some very low ones like this, so that your baby will wake up in the morning. This is the idea. I still haven't been able to experience this yet. Your baby wakes up in the morning and just looks around their bedroom, crawls out of their floor bed and goes and starts to play with something. That's the dream, and that is so exciting when that day will come. But yes, it's giving them a full yes space. Their whole bedroom has to be a yes space. So really being careful that it's baby proofed, and choosing a low mattress. If they fall off of their bed, try to make sure you have a nice rug underneath so it's not going to be too jarring. But they learn very quickly where the edge of the bed is, as do adults. And once more, they're not proponents of pacifiers for sleep, because pacifiers can become a little bit of a limitation for developing language. Clothing. So avoid anything that pulls over their head in the early months. I think for the first 3 months, you just want them to survive in double zipper onesies without the hands or the feet. This is, stuff that comes up and over the head. It's stressful for baby, what is this fabric in my face? And if you have a blowout or pee everywhere, you don't want to pull that fabric over the top of the head. And you want it to be loose, comfortable, and unrestrictive so that it encourages movement. And dress them gently, with gentle hands. Don't make it rushed, make it as slow as you can and enjoyable as you can, and tell them what you're doing. Sorry, and I keep forgetting last point, and once your baby gets a little older, probably near 1 year mark, you can start offering clothing choices. Do you want to wear this or this? And whatever they look at longer or reach towards or touch, that's what they wear that day. Diapering. So for diapering, again, remember your gentle hands and slowly, respectfully. Avoid any negative language like, oh, that stinks, such a stinky baby. Instead, don't comment on these things and try to keep your face as neutral as possible. And when babies are older, they may not want to have their diaper changed lying down, so it's best to learn how to diaper them standing. And then quite abruptly, I realized that's all my points. And that's the end of the book summary. But I just wanted to tell a little of my experience at Montessori. It's been so invaluable and a major part of how I'm choosing to parent Marvy. The main thing for me is to let her get on with it herself. Don't interrupt, don't entertain, don't jump in and praise, don't tell her, wow, that's a blue ball. Just let her explore herself. And yeah, this has been just the biggest thing for me. And then just being super respectful as well, and just trying to think, would I speak like that to an adult? If my partner was crying, would I say that? Would I do that? And a lot of these principles are quite crazy for our parents to see, like their grandparents. There's whole sections in this book actually about how to, I literally just opened on that page, working with grandparents and other caregivers, and how you can explain Montessori to them. So it's a big book. I tried to summarize it as best I could and the bits that I found the most helpful, but I do recommend buying the book and having it on your shelf as well. And the toddler one is the main one, I would say. It was written before the baby one, and I've read that as well, although Marvy's only 8 months, but at this point I'm just addicted to parenting books. Sorry. So that summary will come in future as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to summarize as best I could, and Montessori has just been amazing for me. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe. I have many more book summaries to come and videos on how the newborn phase has been for me, and a bunch of probably weird stuff that I've been doing, like elimination communication and more. And if you're pregnant, you can be so excited because it's awesome watching a baby grow from scratch and a brain grow from scratch, and seeing their like system updates, and then suddenly they can do a bunch of new stuff. It's amazing. So anyway, ramble over, video over, and I will see you again soon. All the best.